Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. We have our special guest, Denver's Manny Perez. And if there's one thing I do love about promoting our Colorado boxers is some of the guys that are special. All of our guys are special, but in particular, we have our guys such as Manny Perez and Rob Franco who have hold championship belts. And Aurelio this morning, we're lucky enough to have Manny Perez. Manny, there's your belt.
That's right. I'd like to thank you guys for having me down. It's a great opportunity and a pleasure to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you. Our pleasure to have you. Listen, as everyone knows, well, we're talking with Manny, who's just picked up this NABF title. Well, he actually won it when he fought Edgar Santana, and he defended against Jose Miguel Cotto down in Cancun, Mexico. Manny, why don't you talk a little bit about that experience? First of all, Santana. Let's do this. Let's go back to Mercedes Augusta, where you had that fight. For a lot of people, that puts you on the map. You were already on our map. But for a lot of people, that fight in conjunction with the Santana and now beating Cotto, you're definitely a name that's being prominently mentioned in the 140-pound division.
Well, with the Mercedes Augusta fight, you know, we trained for that fight extremely hard, and we had a set game plan, and I feel that we executed it correctly, and I thought we won that fight. But, you know, the judges didn't feel so, but everybody in the world got to see it, or the United States got to see it. And then we just jumped in there to a tough fight with Edgar Santana. A lot of people thought that it was, you know, a bad fight for me, being that he was a big puncher. But, again, we had a great camp and an excellent game plan. We stuck to it, and it made the fight extremely it just made it a lot easier. Had I not stuck to the game plan, I could have made the fight a lot more difficult. Had I not trusted my corners or my trainer and what we worked on the duration of the camp, it could have made the fight a lot tougher for us. But because I have the utmost confidence in my team and what they tell me works, I just went out there and executed that, and it led to a victory. And then we had the opportunity to fight Jose Miguel Cotto and defend our title, and I jumped at that opportunity because you do not become the best by not fighting the best. You become the best by fighting and beating the best. And he's still a big name at 140 pounds, and I just look forward for the future and to share the ring with the other 145 or 140-pound champions and show what I can do in there against them.
You know, Manny, one thing that you mentioned, which is crucial, I'd like you, if you would take just a second, you talked about your camp, the good camp you had and trust of your corner. Mention who your trainer, your manager, who some of the sparring partners you had, who have kept you prepared for your big bouts.
My team consists of Jake Ramos, which is the head trainer, and then Trevor Whitman, who's our second, and then our manager, and also helps with the training, Steve Mestes. And then my sparring partners are Alfred Romero,
the Tornado.
Rob, yes, and great guy, Rob Franco, and even Manuel Lopez, little Manuel Lopez. And then some of the MMA guys get in there with us as well from the Grudge Training Center. And then my wife, Leanne Perez, and my beautiful kids are a huge part of my team, and their support and their confidence in what I can do in there takes me a long way.
Talk about for a hot second about you got a new addition to the Perez family.
I do. We just after we were able to defend our title against Jose Miguel Cotto in Cancun, about a week and a half later, my son Samuel Joseph Perez was born. 6 pounds 11 ounces, 19 and a half inches long. beautiful boy. At 9:23 p.m. on July 31st.
All right. And so that gives you not one, not two, not three, but 4 sons.
4 sons. It gives me 4 beautiful boys, all to which I hope do not box. But if they do, I will support them 110%. But you know, it's hard for them not to want to fight because they've all been in the gym since they were 3 days old. So we're a boxing family and we love it, and I'm sure one of them will probably end up wanting to do it.
Well, congratulations on the kids.
I appreciate it.
You and your wife. I mean, it's you know, when it comes right down to it, that's what life's about. It's not about boxing or becoming a lawyer, becoming a doctor and stuff. It's all about kids, raising a family.
I know one of the Perez kids, if they're a lawyer or doctor, they'll be much happier than if they're a boxer.
But anyhow, for the people out there that don't realize, Manny Perez, he has taken the hard road to where he's at. He's not one of the fighters, because there's very few of them that are fortunate to land promotional contracts with your Golden Boys or your Bob Arums or your Don Kings. where they have the luxury of picking and choosing their opponents and coming up. That wasn't the case with Manny. Manny actually took the hard road, used his skills, his guts, and his willingness to go out there and mix it up with anyone and everyone that's out there. And he's been in there with the best fighters in his division. I mean, he's banged it out with Brandon Rios a couple of times. We just finished talking about Brandon Rios. So, like Manny had told us off the air, is that he learns from his fights, and it's obvious that he learns. The Edgar Santana fight that everyone told him he was crazy to take, going and defending his belt against Jose Cotto. He's just a machine that goes out there and is willing to win, and you've got to recognize that, Steve. He's just one of them fighters that's going to go out there and perform in the ring.
Oh, without a doubt. Like I said, all the people know that I'm pro Colorado boxers. I mean, on our show we talk about boxing nationwide, but I really got the burr under my saddle has always been when Emmanuel Stewart on the air nationwide said that Denver didn't really have any boxers, and ever since then I've been on a mission to just make sure we promote all of our Denver boxers. In addition to Manny, we have, like you said, you mentioned part of his team, but that's also part of, like you said, Alfred, Romero, and then we've got Pablo Gomez, and we've got quality guys that are not afraid to fight anybody anywhere. I've referred to you, Manny, as I have referred to Rob, as true road warriors. No problem going on the road. I'm a firm believer that I don't care who you beat in Denver. You got to go beat them in a neutral place, or preferably in their own backyard.
Exactly.
That's what a champion does.
That is exactly. You have to go out there and you have to test your mettle. You can stay at home and you can fight these one-dimensional, one-division type fighters and look fantastic, but they're never testing you. They're never pushing you to become better than what you are. If you fight, these club fighters, then that's all you're going to be. If you want to excel to the next level, then you have to up your stakes. You have to up your opponents, or I shouldn't say opponents, the quality of fighters that you're going to compete against.
Exactly.
Because I believe that whether a man is 10-0 or 0-10, that man is going to be tough in front of you until you give him a reason not to be.
There you go.
Manny, because this fight, you fought Jose Cotto. Let's talk about that fight, because you're not planning for that fight. It happened. Tell us a little bit about that fight, how you prepared for the fight, your game plan for the fight, and when you got in the ring, was he what you expected? Did the fight transpire the way it happened, or did you have to make changes in the ring as it happened?
Well, what happened with that fight, we were scheduled to fight Johan Perez for his title, the WBA interim title. That fight got pulled from us, but they still gave us the opportunity to fight. They switched opponents on us within about 4 weeks until the fight, 3-4 weeks. So it was a change-up because we had known about the fight with Johan for almost 2 months, so we had time to prepare. It was a little bit of a switch-up. We worked a lot on still using the body jab and the body shots to slow his pace down. Going in there, I thought he would be more willing to exchange with me, and as the fight kind of went on, he wasn't. So for him to go more so on his bicycle and decide to try to nitpick and punch and kind of just think he already had won the fight. To me, he was fighting like he had already won the fight off of his name and without actually winning the fight. But there were some adjustments that I had to make in there. I wish that I could have gave the crowd more, but a win's a win. I gave nothing but the utmost respect to him and to his camp. They were complete gentlemen through and through. But now we're just looking for what's next, I guess.
Now, have you heard about the fight with Johan? Is he just going to completely forget about you? I mean, because obviously we were all disappointed when that fight changed up all of a sudden, and without any real reason as to why or what. It just didn't happen anymore. And I can give you my opinion. I can give you my opinion why it didn't happen. Fighters always take a fight thinking that it's an easy fight, and then they start to have second thoughts when they start to do their little the history, and they start doing their research, and obviously, in my opinion, that's exactly what happened. So I'm just kind of interested. Has that subject ever come up again?
You know, it actually got tossed around again recently, and I said, I told Steve and my camp and my team, I said, at this point, you know, at this point and for the rest of my career, it doesn't matter who I step in that ring with. I said, I just want to compete. I just want to fight. This is what I love to do, and I still want to be a world champ. I want to win a world title, and to do that, you have to be willing to get in there with anybody. So if that fight comes up, I'll jump at that opportunity. If it doesn't, then you know, whoever they offer us to fight to compete against, I just jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you know,
if that fight was to happen, oh man, it'd be a great fight. I think Johan Perez obviously is you know, had he was undefeated for a reason. He had his knockout wins for a reason. He definitely hits hard. He's a little unorthodox. But you know, we had developed a good game plan for that fight. We weren't able to fight him to execute it. But if that fight was to come up, I'm confident in my team and our training to go in there and win.
You jump on it, right? You know, the 140-pound division is really getting exciting now, and you're right in the mix of this. You're right on that top plateau with everyone else. If the Johan don't come together, I think you know Peterson, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that fight was ever presented, how would you look at that fight?
Oh, I would love that fight because Peterson's a fighter, and he loves to stay in the exchanges. He's very smart. He's very technical. He doesn't go outside of his game plan. He proved that against Amir Khan. He wasn't trying to match his output. He wasn't trying to match his speed. His game plan was to get to the body, land his bigger shots, wear the man down, and I thought he did that. I like that fight. I like that fight because I think it's a crowd-pleasing fight, and I think that it would deliver a lot of fireworks.
Well, I think that's probably a good avenue for you guys to look at because, of course, Lamont Peterson recently retained his IBF title.
Correct.
And he's going to be fighting Zab Judah. And
everything goes as planned.
And I'll tell you what, the winner of that fight would make an excellent fight for you, Manny. I mean, it would be perfect for you to get in there and mix it. I mean, if Johan's not going to step up to the table and say, hey, we had this fight made, let's go ahead and finish it, it's unfinished business, then you kind of forget about that and go and move along. So, I mean, Steve, I'd like to see that fight. I'd like to see Manny fight the winner of Lamont and Zab.
I would even like to see Manny fight the loser. I mean, even the loser of that would be because both of those are names that are prominently mentioned. Again, you know, the junior welterweight and the welterweight division, in my opinion, are really hot right now. They're stacked with quality opponents. So there are plenty of fights out there if they want to challenge Manny. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's sad to say, but now, you know, in this day and age, the thing about keeping this untainted record is a big deal. Whereas in my generation, you know, it didn't matter. It's about, hey, we're fighting. And, you know, the cream's going to rise to the top, but right. You have to fight. But now so many people avoid people because you get that loss and it drops you down 2 or 3 pegs, and then you got to fight your way back up. Right. So that's you know, something that we hope that happens for you. But Manny, just for the people that are unaware of what Manny goes through with, as you can imagine, with a wife and 4 kids, just give our viewers just a brief little synopsis of what a day in the life of Manny Perez is like.
A day in the life of Manny Perez. Well, when we're training, I still work a full-time job. I work anywhere from 50 to 60 hours a week between Monday and Friday. I get up early in the morning. I try to get my running in, you know, around 4. Sometimes I have to be at work at 4, so then I have to pick that up afterwards. So we'll go to work. We'll work 10 to 12 hours, and then we'll go to the gym. We'll work out for 2 hours. We'll hit a mountain run, or we'll get a run at Slums Lake, or I'll go to Better Bodies. Then I go home. I got to spend some quality time with the kids before they go off to bed. And my oldest, you know, he has to be in bed early because he goes to school. So I try to get all that family time in there. And then they try to come with me to the gym when they can. And, you know, we make it a family event. And then on the weekends, it's still with the train. It's still with the working. And I work a part-time. I did work a part-time job at the liquor store. At liquor store stocking and working
your uncle's
and stuff like that. No, it was actually one of my good friends. We're, you know, Eugene, and he's actually getting ready to open up a microbrew in the Wheat Ridge where I'm supposed to work there as well, but my wife's so used to having me home on weekends now. She doesn't want to let me go, and but that's always been me. I've always had 2 jobs since I've grown up, and I've always been a provider for my family and stuff. So it's an exhausting day, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't trade in my life for anybody, or I wouldn't trade it in for nothing. I love it from the time I wake up till the time I close my eyes. It's beautiful. No matter how hard or how strenuous it may seem, it's just beautiful.
See, folks, I think it's important that Manny gets to tell you in his own words, because the time that Aurelio and I dedicate to trying to give you information on our boxers nationwide and especially locally, we know that the little strain it puts on, even though we're grandfathers, the wives sometimes say, hey, this weekend is not that. It's good. So you can imagine what a young man with 4 little kids and a wife, as Manny and I had spoken about off air about, and I'm going to let him tell you himself, but he's already delved into a little bit about how important the support of your family. I mean, Manny, tell me in your own words.
Well, it's the world to me. I mean, it's great to have the support of the fans and my camp and everything, but utmost to have the support of my family, my wife, my mom and dad, my kids. It's the world to me, because without that support, it would make it extremely difficult for me to get in there and compete. If they were to ask me consistently not to fight, and that it worried them, and they didn't like me to get hit, then it'd always be on my mind. And it would distract me from training. It would distract me inside the ring. And when you're distracted like that, you've already lost it, and you can get hurt in the ring. You can your mind wanders in there, and you're not focused on what you're supposed to do in that squared circle. You can hurt yourself, or you can get hurt. And so to have their support to back me 110% and have no questions of what I'm doing or how I'm training, or all the, as much as I push and all the strain I put on my body, and they're just backing me all the way through and through. It's amazing, and I can't thank them enough.
You already mentioned little Samuel. Mention your other 3 sons' names.
So we're going to start from the top. My
oldest. We'll start the top. Is with your wife.
Well, with my wife, Manny Perez. We've known each other since we were kids, and we've been a part of the same family forever. And then we just started dating, and we got married, and then we have 2 beautiful kids together. Aiden Teddy Perez, who's 3, who was born July 5th, and Samuel Joseph Perez, who was born July 31st. And then my oldest is Manuel Solis Perez, the 5th. We call him Cinco for short because he's the 5th generation. Beautiful.